going on, Wolfpack Nation? Thank you so much again for tuning back in one more time with us. Hey, we're going to do part 3 here of our breakdown of the ACC football season here once again with Dan Siegel here from ACC Content. So again, if you haven't checked out parts 1 and 2, make sure to go and give those a check as well as, and then also too, just a reminder again, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Again, it's really it's free to do and really helps support us in the channel. And also to make sure that you're actually notified whenever we release new content. And go check out all of our great state content. Give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and give this video a like as well. So jumping right back in here. So we left off here with Pitt. And again, I mean, I think Pitt, you know, they were predicted 8-4, 4-4 in the conference, and did 11-2 and 7-1 in the conference. So I think for all of us, this is going to be a pretty easy grade. But Dan, I'll let you announce to the world what grade we're all going to give them.
A+. I think it's pretty obvious, right? They've been mediocre for so long, mediocre to slightly above average. I think since like 2011 or something, they'd every single season won between 5 and 7 games, or maybe 5 and 8 games. But it was just some insane level of consistent mediocrity. And now they finally just, Kenny Pickett becomes a Heisman level contender. Wide receivers take a huge step. Defense improves throughout the season. Yeah, I think it's a pretty obvious choice there. A+.
A+. Macon?
I had A+, and the more I think about it, I actually feel like giving them an A. And the reason
just to piss us off, that's got to be
is they were so close to even greater of a season. They lost to Western Michigan early, and they had those things. That's the only I mean, it means the A. They won the ACC championship. It feels like, who cares? To me, it's like that's true. They could have been a playoff team, and
borderline.
You don't think they would have been a playoff team? Let's hold on. I'm going to pull it up again. They would, if they had beaten Western Michigan, they lost by 3 points, and if they had beaten Miami, they lost by 4 points. You don't think they would be 13-0? They would be an 8 playoff team.
Even with the loss to Miami, I think they'd still be. Yeah, if they were 13-0, definitely.
So I think even if without the loss to Michigan.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my thing. Like, they did win the ACC championship. They took care of business. They did stumble on the way. There were points in this season we kind of scratched our head at them. They got it done, and they're going to play a great bowl game against Michigan State. Kenny Pickett was a Heisman finalist. Jordan Addison is going to be on my fantasy dynasty football team at some point. He's so good.
He's consensus All-American too.
Yeah, so I mean, they did great. I do think there was like a little bit of area you could say, man, what if for them? Like they did get this, and they can't. But they could have been like, man, all the way up there. And so I give them the A. They earn it. If anybody says they're less than an A, they're crazy. But I get you guys looking at me like I'm crazy. I didn't give them an A+. But
no,
that makes sense.
Making still my entire take. I had him at an A too, just because that I mean, that Western Michigan, it's not like, obviously they exceeded expectations tremendously, but you know, they were still expected to beat Western Michigan, and I do think at 12-1, even with that loss to Miami, they at least would have been in the conversation for making the playoff. Now, obviously, if they were 13-0, then they definitely would be in. But even at 12-1, I think they still might have at least had a chance.
I don't know. I mean, I just think 13-0. How do you not? They would playoff. They would have been a top 4 team probably.
Yeah,
Cincinnati.
No, definitely.
But they would have probably gotten snubbed just like Texas A&M did last year. But anyway. But for me, yeah. I mean, I gave an A+ just because then they won the ACC title. It's a Pitt team that historically, just like Dan was saying, didn't not have a lot of hype to it. Obviously, the two big names for Pitt of Aaron Donald and Larry Fitzgerald now have a third brother added to it, and Kenny Pickett forever and ever. Definitely happy for them. And, Pat Narduzzi has now solidified himself of being the head coach for at least another 5, 6, 7 years or so.
You can't forget Dan Marino too.
Yeah, Dan Marino.
Oh yeah, that's right. Dan Marino. I forgot about that too.
No,
that's
true. It's like recent history. It's those 3.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Right. But yeah, Dan Marino. Yes, for sure. So now I got to jump right into Syracuse here. So obviously predicted start off go 4-8. And ended up being 5-7. So, definitely I think this was a season that was a make or break year for Dino Babers. but I wouldn't really say that he made it or broke it. I think he just kind of like stayed right there.
No, for whatever reason, it just seems like Syracuse is okay with being bad at football and just not completely being.
Yeah.
Just completely not embarrassing yourselves, being like respectably bad. Okay, we'll take it. Like that's literally what their program is like. I gave them a C. With that being said, like their expectations were low and they slightly exceeded their low expectations. The only reason they're so high even is because Sean Tucker is just so good, and their offensive line play has improved the last couple of years to allow for Sean Tucker to be good.
Mm-hmm.
They need a quarterback, and that's been the story ever since
Dungy
left and departed. But just need a quarterback, and horrible in-game coaching cost them of a couple games that could have gotten them to a bowl. So that's Syracuse, just a C.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a C minus. Same reasoning. Best one of the season, I think, was Boston College late in the season, and then it was Liberty earlier on. Yeah, same reasons. I think it's one thing that's hilarious about them is you mentioned the comment earlier about they just seem like they're okay with being bad at football. Again, really sad because they have a lot of great history, like Ernie Davis and who's the Philadelphia Eagles, Donovan McNabb. But you could tell. Like the thing was, okay, what's the guy's name? Dino Babers. He was saying, orange is the new fast, and that slogan he put out there. And you would think after how many seasons he's been bad, like the last 3, I mean, he got paid. Remember, he had a 10-win season in 2018, and he was smart to get that contract extension because he's not been good since then. And they are on the end of that contract to a degree, I think, cleaning close to it. And they chose to keep him. And because he has too big of a buyout, I think it's like $18 million they'd have to pay him. And so it's like they just decided to keep him. And you would think Syracuse would be able to pay, but it's like if you did that, you kind of are taking a big hit to your program financially. So they're not probably going to be good next year either. And if I were Sean Tucker, I'd be transferring.
Yeah,
sounds harsh, but I would. I mean, look what Kenneth Walker just did.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't. They did. I mean, Syracuse did fire their offensive coordinator, so maybe that's how Dino convinced Sean Tucker to stay. Say, hey, we'll get a new play caller in here if you stay. I had him as a D+. I mean, they were expected to be bad. They weren't great. Sean Tucker does look promising. I don't think Schrader's terrible. He can run the ball a little bit. I mean, he obviously is not the best passer, but I mean, he's a mobile quarterback. But I don't know. I still like it. Can't, like Dan said, it's just like they're okay with just being bad. And
the only
slightly mediocre every now and then
is like Des Dungy. That's the only development quarterback they can point to.
Yeah, Eric Dungy for sure. Well, but Michael, I think you're very generous when you say Schrader can kind of throw the football, dude. That guy, he cannot throw the football.
He was throwing some ducks out there, man.
The fact that Virginia Tech gave up 236 yards passing and 174 yards rushing to just Schrader is ridiculous.
That was the most perplexing game of the season from a Syracuse standpoint.
But yeah,
what?
no, there's no. He just cannot throw the football. No. But yeah, I mean, I gave them a C minus. They had some good wins over Liberty and obviously a very impressive performance against Virginia Tech and beating Boston College as well. That was impressive. It just. Which is kind of they just kind of kept him borderline. So I still think heading into next season, Dino Babers is still on the hot seat. But I think that I really do cheer for him because he is really a great guy. He is, you can't not love Dino Babers. And I know players love him as well. So my heart really does go out to him. I really do want him to do well, just not better than us. So, all right. So now heading into Wake Forest here. So obviously. Was predicted actually to go 5-7, but ended up being 10-3. So I think this was the team that absolutely blew out the expert predictions for sure. So Dan, I'll let you start here.
Yeah, I'm going A. The only reason it's not an A+ is because they kind of collapsed in the second half of the ACC championship game when they were right there and able to win.
Definitely.
But overall, you look at the body of work that they put together. They they're already at a disadvantage being such a tiny school and having lack of resources. Like other schools in the conference have lack of resources, but that's kind of on them. Like Wake Forest, just naturally the way their school works.
Yeah,
that's how it's going to be. And for Dave Clawson to do all that, definitely deserves an A. I think a lot of credit to them, a lot of credit to their defense for holding it together and their receivers, even with Donovan Green out, just the whole season, just being super explosive. A.T. Perry, great job by him. I'd definitely give them an A.
Yep.
I gave them an A too. I gave them an A as well. Blew out their expectations. They had no defense, just like Virginia had no defense, but it didn't matter because they could score like crazy.
Yeah.
And that game they had against Army, it was like 70-56. I think every time that each team touched the ball, they scored a touchdown. And
yeah, pretty much.
I will tell you what, man, this year for Wake Forest, you have to be lucky to a degree. There has to be some luck that goes your way to, I think, in any sort of championship run that a team has in any given year. Man, that UNC game they lost, the fact that they scheduled that 5 or 6 years ago and it happened to be this one year with a non-conference game, so it didn't hurt them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How lucky is that? So they do that. Gods. And then, so I heard someone make this point, and this is kind of crazy. You realize that if State had not beaten Clemson early in the season, Clemson would be, and Clemson had won against Wake Forest, Clemson would be playing for the championship.
Yeah.
Like, in order for Wake Forest to get to the championship, State beat Clemson. That's what we helped them get there, which is crazy. It's like,
that's true.
I don't know. It's like that you should send NC State a thank you card for beating Clemson for you to go and get there to a degree, jokingly.
We also helped them by losing to them. So
yeah, I mean, they just had like some luck go their way, and they capitalized on it.
Yeah,
they capitalized on it, and I think that they just did a great job. I would love to see Dave Clawson go somewhere else because, man, he's good. He doesn't do anything that blows you away, but he is so fundamentally sound, and they're. I don't know. It doesn't, and I think most of their guys come back next year too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yep.
I don't know how many. I have to go back and look, but that's the other team. I think it would be like a discussion: is NC State or Wake Forest or on the Atlantic side the favorite again? I think it's gonna be a discussion. They had a great season.
Yep. Yeah. I have them as an A too. I mean, Macon summed it up pretty well. The only thing that really kept them from an A+ was I'd say that. Winning the whole thing, and then kind of that game against UNC where they really should have won that game too.
They should have won that game. Yeah. Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. Yeah, for me, I gave them an A-. Actually, I was a little bit tougher on them just because, first of all, I mean, I think it was one of the is kind of annoyance on my part because everybody, when they started off going 7-0 to start the season, everybody was like, oh my gosh, are these guys going to go undefeated?
No way.
And it's like, okay, hold on. You played Old Dominion, Norfolk, Florida State, Virginia, Louisville, Syracuse, Army, Duke.
They played nobody.
You played nobody, okay? So, no. But I mean, there's no doubt Sam Hartman he's a great quarterback. Jacoby Roberson and A.T. Perry are great wide receivers. I think, unfortunately for State fans, that Dave Clawson, with his contract extension signing, has proved that the theory that we had where maybe he just wants to stay in Winston-Salem and, just have a job for as long as he wants to, I think that pretty much solidified it, I think that if he was interested in going anywhere else, he wouldn't have sided. He would have waited to, see what the coaching carousel had to offer.
He's comfortable there, it looks like. And they just built didn't they just build a new facility, or are they going to? Didn't they just build one?
new indoor
facility.
Thing,
that's not an indoor facility, but didn't they just build like a new or announce one?
Yeah, they
a new facility at Wake Forest. I think they did.
Something like
so
that.
they're investing. And I've heard people say Wake Forest may have the most underrated facilities. Like they actually have very nice facilities. What I've heard, they just are Wake Forest, and you're like UK.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, no. So, but again, I mean, it's so definitely hats off to Clawson for sure. The slow delayed option still pisses me off, to be honest. But hey, it works. And they score a lot of points. So hats off to them. Hold it for 5 seconds, and then we're going to throw it. Yeah. All right. So now heading on to our last two here. So Virginia predicted to go 6-6, ended up 6-6. So pretty much again ended up exactly where the experts thought. Dan, what do you think?
So they ended up exactly where the experts thought in terms of their final record. I don't think anybody expected their season to actually come into play the way that it actually did. I'm actually going to give them a C-.
It was the most bizarre season for sure.
Just the way it happened. They had the really prolific offense and they wasted it so much because of how just non-existent their defense was. And just like there were a couple of doinks, like missed field goals off the uprights away from being 4-8. There were also a couple of plays away from being 8-4, 9-3. So it's like, it's a very interesting way that they ended their season. And man, I think they went down an entire fraction of a grade just because of that backwards pass to the offensive lineman against Virginia Tech.
That was bad.
Yeah, that one play call changed their entire grade.
Oh no! Yep, you're going down. You don't deserve it. I don't know why. I was looking. I actually had him as a B+ going into this, and I'm worried to talk about it. And I look back. I'm like, I'm an idiot. They don't deserve to be B+. I said B-, and I think it's because they were right there competing for a Coastal, and they did. I mean, they had some nice wins against Miami. They had a nice win against Illinois, who I don't think is great. They had that win that was really odd game where, again, Louisville choked, but they beat Louisville on the road. But then they lose to BYU, which is a really weird game near the end or middle of the season out there in Utah. They lose to Pittsburgh, although they played Pittsburgh hard. They lose. I think the biggest loss for them, to be honest with you, which is probably not too hard to recognize, their loss to Virginia Tech. I mean, they should have beaten Virginia Tech this year, and my wife's a Hokie, and I lived in Blacksburg for a while. I got a bunch of friends. Virginia Tech should have won, and they choked. They did not. And Virginia Tech obviously had played nothing to lose because Fuente didn't coach that game. But B, I would say B range. B- is what I would give Virginia this year. Brennan Armstrong was the story of their season.
Yeah.
For sure.
Positively.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
And as a side note, I really hope whatever the coach's name that just left.
Tony Elliott?
No, the coach just left.
No.
Bronco.
Whatever's
Bronco
going on,
Mendenhall.
it sounds like it's a personal thing. I hope it works out. I don't know. They never said why he left the school.
Yeah.
So hope whatever it is. I felt kind of bad because it seemed like a personal thing. So hopefully everything's good there.
Yeah, I had him as a B-. I mean, going into the second to last week of the season against Pitt, they still had a chance to win the Coastal, even though they finished 6-6. They were still right in it up until the end. And obviously, Brennan Armstrong was just throwing the ball all over the place, even though they had no defense. So I had a B-.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys actually heard, but BYU actually reported that after the game against Virginia, that actually their fields were really clean, and that was because the defense sucked so much.
Did they really say that?
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I totally just made that up.
That'd be a funny tweet. You should have put that out there.
Well, you do hear those stories of like the opposing team leaving the locker room clean or whatever. And I thought maybe because that was where
the field. That's where a little bit.
Good job. That's where Bronco Mendenhall came from. So
that game was 62-49, I think, or something like that. And
Oh,
the only
66-49
stopped scoring was because Armstrong got hurt. It was a crazy
yeah,
game.
that was the game he got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but again, I mean, just for me, I actually gave him a C. I mean, just a bleh because I mean the offense was so good, but the defense was so bad. But also too, I would say even losing to BYU was definitely, you know, kind of a little bit of a stab because that was where Bronco Mendenhall came from. So it's kind of like, you know, like you got to win that game because now it's kind of like BYU going, oh, you left us, huh? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so. But yeah, I mean, definitely also too losing to Virginia Tech the way they did. It's just like, so for me, it's almost basically a borderline C- to C. So got a couple more minutes here. So Virginia Tech, you know, obviously predicted 6-6, win 6-6. Was so excited after beating Carolina, number 10 team in the country, and then it pretty much went downhill from there. So.
Yeah, I thought I could talk myself into a C-, but I'm giving them a D+.
Yeah,
that's kind of a thing, I guess, D+. But yeah, they're completely, until they hired Brent Pry, which I think things are now trending back upward for them, but they got completely away from their identity that they had established for so many years under Beamer, and like their defensive identity, and their offense is just atrocious. Like Burmeister is not it, and they scared away Hendon Hooker.
Oh my gosh, that was criminal.
He's so good. Like
Criminal.
I've been so high on the guy ever since I saw him take the field, and look what he's doing at Tennessee. I think he'll be
he's coming back. He's going back to Tennessee.
Yeah, at least a day to pick for the.
It's almost as bad as
2 draft classes from now.
Yeah,
but that I'm giving them a D+ just because their program has gone so downhill. It needs a very necessary revamp. I think Pry could potentially do it, but he's got a lot of work to do.
Indeed.
Yeah, I had him as a C. They were the epitome of average. They were 4-4, and 4-4 in conference and 6-6 overall. They were 2-2 on the road. They won 2, lost 2 at home. They won 4 games, lost 3. They at the end of the day, really what mattered for them because they did not feel like they had a good season. Especially the way they lost to Syracuse, I think that was like the nail in the coffin for Fuente. But them beating Virginia totally saved them for the perception the fans have moving forward.
And the recruits.
Yeah, gives them hope. Yeah. Gives them hope. And I'm going to tell you right now, again, like I mentioned this in another previous episode we did, speaking to people I know, Pry, I got a text from a guy as soon as he watched the conference, and I think he was there because he said, dude, totally different guy. Like, as far as culture. He said he knew that he's been around Fuente and like more like the personal side of life, just kind of seeing him around at like golf club or the kids doing golf classes kind of thing. And he's like, he just there, wherever he is, you see him in town, on the press conferences, on TV. He's just not present. He was never present. He just seemed like he was just kind of not endearing the fan base. And Pry just initially press conference, he's gonna be I think Pry's gonna be a player's coach. He's gonna be a guy people are going to play for personality wise. Fans are gonna love him. He was a former like grad student or assistant for Beamer at Virginia Tech, so he knows it. So they have something to move forward on, and as personally, I'm excited for them. I wish State played for Virginia Tech more often, and I do next season. But I would say the C grade this year for them. Glad Fuente's gone for them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Michael,
I have him a D+. I mean, Fuente was just so bad his last couple of years. It was hard to not give him an F, even like in a season where they fire their coach. But I think like, you know, they're still making a bowl. They beat Virginia, so those are pretty positives that saved them from a completely terrible season. And that was cool seeing who was their interim coach? What was his name? Price.
JC Price. Yeah.
JC Price. Yeah. On the field after
nothing to lose.
Virginia. That was cool. So I think that saved them. So I give them a D+.
And
I do like Brent Pry also as their new hire.
Yeah, they're the NC State of Virginia. They're the same kind of people as NC State people are. So I like them.
So I was the most critical of Virginia Tech, D-, and let me tell you why. So first of all, There are 2 gimme games in Richmond and Middle Tennessee. They won by an average of 16 points in your gimme games of Middle Tennessee and Richmond. I mean, they literally scored 21 points against Richmond. And and then West Virginia, they should have beaten West Virginia. They should have won that game. Like they were like pretty much like on like the 3-yard line, 1st and goal or something like that, and they should have won that game.
I forgot about that.
And then you made Schrader at Syracuse look like a potential Heisman finest. You know,
but they did embarrass Sam Howell on opening night, and that's what mattered to me.
Yeah. But again, also too, that was also when they had a crazy, normal Virginia Tech environment. You know, to probably play into that a little bit as well. But also too, again, I mean, they just lost all their momentum. I mean, everything that like you think about Beamer and you think about, oh my gosh, like the Michael Vick years, and just like that wasn't that long ago, but holy smokes, like you look at where it was then and where it is now, it's like, wow, you lost everything. So for me, I'm like, it's bad.
They have
now,
everything there to succeed. They just need a coach.
They have every resource and every support and everything.
There's no reason they can't be 9-3 every year.
6-6 is ridiculous. And again,
they shouldn't be close with UVA, to be honest. If you look at the facilities,
from
their institution, they should know. It makes sense that they've won 16 of the last 17 years.
Yeah.
I said absolutely. They should be 9-3. I feel like 8. That's probably too high. 8-4 because they got to play other teams. But yeah, Virginia Tech just got everything they could want. They just need a coach.
Yeah. So that being said, so we finally got this all wrapped up here and got through all the teams for sure. So Dan, I want to first of all thank you so much for joining us and going through all these guys. This is always a lot of fun to have you on to kind of dive into the ACC ever so often.
Yeah, appreciate it. Had a lot of fun doing this.
Absolutely. But so make sure again to give Dan AC Content at AC Content a follow on Twitter for all of your ACC sports analysis. Again, a great Twitter handle to go and follow for sure. But with that being said, make sure again, if you haven't already, make sure again hit that subscribe button so that way you don't miss out on whenever we release new videos. And also to make sure to give this video a like, check out all of our great today content. Give us a follow at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter or Instagram. But hey, thank you all so much again for tuning in. And as always, go Pack, y'all.